Hey, tonight we're not just stepping into a different time, we're stepping into a year that almost disappeared from history. A year when the sun forgot to rise, when crops failed, animals starved, and snow fell in June. This isn't fiction. This really happened, and hardly anyone saw it coming. So before we get started, take a moment to subscribe if you enjoy falling asleep to stories like this one. It really helps the channel grow. And drop a comment. Where are you listening from, and what time is it for you right now? It always amazes me to see this little community stretch across the whole world. Now dim the lights. Take a slow, deep breath, and find that quiet place inside you. Tonight, we're traveling back to the year 1816, the year the sun went out. It's early morning, June 8th. You open your eyes and see your breath, floating pale in the air above your bed like smoke. But there is no fire, no stove lit, just frost on the inside of the window pane. You sit up slowly, wrapping your arms around your chest. You're wearing 2 shirts, wool socks, and a coat. Still not enough. The cold has seeped into the floorboards, into the walls, into the bones of the house itself. It doesn't feel like summer. It barely even feels like spring. You reach for your boots and pause. They're stiff with cold. Again, the leather cracks as you bend them into shape. Your hands tremble slightly, not from fear but from the persistent chill that never leaves. Your breath fogs again in the air, reminding you that the world outside that door is no warmer than the world inside it. Your wife is already up. You can hear her downstairs, moving around the hearth, trying to get the fire going again with the last of the good wood. She hasn't spoken much lately. There isn't much left to say. The conversations have gone quiet, reduced to nods and glances and shared silences filled with worry. You remember how she used to hum while she worked. Now the only sound is the scraping of firewood and the occasional crack of flame catching. You stand and stretch, and the joints in your knees pop like frozen twigs. You're only 34, but this past year, this endless cold has aged everyone. Your fingers are stiff as you tie your boots. The lace is brittle and frayed. Even small movements feel like work now. Downstairs, the children are curled together under a single quilt. Your youngest, Samuel, is coughing again. That dry, tight cough that never goes away. He's thin. Too thin. You all are. You've been measuring meals in spoonfuls, in memory, in guilt. You try not to count ribs anymore when you look at them. Your wife hands you a cup of hot water. Not tea, just water. No one has seen real tea in months. The leaves are gone, traded, used up, forgotten. She doesn't look at you. You don't ask for food. You both know there isn't any. Not till dinner. Maybe not even then. Breakfasts are a luxury now. A memory. You step outside into the morning. The first thing you feel is the wind, wrong for June. It slices through your coat like November. The second thing you notice is snow. Snow. In June. Tiny white flakes fall from a lead-colored sky. They gather on the porch, on the fence, on the fields beyond. Your corn, what little had begun to sprout, is lying flat, limp under the frost. Your potatoes never even broke through the ground. The soil's too cold. The beans are shriveled on their vines, their leaves curled like old paper. You rub your hands together not to warm them, but because you're angry. Not at anyone in particular. Just angry. Angry at the sky, God, at whatever force decided this was the year nature would forget how to be kind. Your neighbor, Caleb, walks down the road. He's carrying a broken shovel and a look on his face like he just buried someone. His coat is threadbare, his boots caked in mud. He stops at your fence, leans on it and stares at your fields. Morning, he mutters. Snow again, you say. He nods. They're saying at the meeting house it's the Lord's judgment. You want to laugh. Or cry. You settle for silence. It's easier. Safer. Caleb used to joke. Used to tell stories that made the kids laugh. Now his voice sounds like old wood snapping underfoot. This is the third time it snowed this month. The third time in June. There was frost in May. There was frost in April. There was frost last August too. And every time you thought it would be the last. You don't know why. No one does. You've heard rumors that the sunspots are cursed, that witches in Salem have returned, that God is punishing the new republic for daring to separate church and state. But the real reason, the truth you won't know in your lifetime. That truth is a volcano named Mount Tambora, thousands of miles away in a place called Indonesia. You've never heard of it. You never will. But it erupted over a year ago and sent millions of tons of ash into the sky you all share. And now that ash floats above you, invisible, blocking out the sun. You can't see it, but you feel it. Every time you shiver. Every time a calf is born dead. Every time a neighbor disappears in the middle of the night, and their barn is empty the next morning. You head back inside. The children are awake. Your wife hands you a small bowl of oats mixed with water.
No milk.
The cow stopped giving last week. Her ribs show now, too. The animals are suffering just like the people. You eat slowly, pretending not to notice how little is in your bowl. Pretending not to see your wife give hers to the baby when she thinks you're not looking. Pretending that this is just another cold day. Not a sign. Not a warning. You've taken to tracking days by the temperature. Not the calendar. Not anymore. March was colder than February. April never thawed. May never blossomed. Now June has betrayed you too. You walk to town later, carrying a small sack of nails and a dented tin kettle. You're hoping to trade. Hoping anyone has flour, or dried apples, or just something you can chew. The streets are quiet. The general store is nearly bare. The minister stands on a wooden crate near the meeting house. His voice shakes as he reads from the Bible. And the sun became black as sackcloth, and the moon became as blood. You don't stop to listen. You've heard enough. Inside the store, the shelves are lined with empty jars. Even the mice are gone. They left when the grain did. You offer your nails to the clerk. He looks at them like you handed him stones. No food, he says. Try again next week. You nod. There's no point in arguing. You pass 3 more families on your walk back. All with the same hollow eyes. All with the same question on their lips. How much longer? Back home, your wife is crying quietly by the fire. You don't interrupt. You just sit beside her and watch the flames flicker low, knowing there's barely enough wood to last the week. The days blur. July brings no warmth. The leaves are already tinged with red. Crops that should be tall by now are still stunted or dead. People start eating what they never imagined they'd eat. Nettles, tree bark, boiled shoe leather. Some eat their pets. Some leave in the night. Others just stop getting out of bed. You hear of riots in Montreal. Food prices have tripled. People fighting in the streets for a loaf of bread. You hear that a man in Maine traded his house for a barrel of flour. A house. But the most frightening thing isn't what you hear. It's what you see. You see the sun rise orange and dim like it's covered in smoke. You see midday skies that look like dusk. You see a moon that glows red at night. And you hear the silence of nature. No birdsong, no crickets. Even the animals are afraid. One day, a man comes into town carrying a book. He says it's from Europe, that they're calling it the year without a summer, that there's been snow in Italy, frost in Paris, frozen rivers in Virginia. It's not just your village. It's everywhere. Something breaks inside you that day. Because if this is the world now, if this cold has no borders, then there's nowhere left to run. And as the years pass and the skies clear, the story fades from headlines, from sermons, from memory. But not for you, because you lived it. You remember the taste of boiled bark, the silence of snowfall in June, the sound of your children crying themselves to sleep hungry. You remember what it was like to pray for the sun, to wonder if it had died, to fear you might die before it returned. But it did come back. And with it, something else returned too. The fragile, persistent idea that no matter how cold, how dark, how long the night, there is always a morning. You never did find out about that volcano, or the ash in the sky, or the science behind it all. But you didn't need to, because you learned something deeper. That survival isn't just about food or fire or shelter. It's about choosing to wake up, day after bitter day, and plant something in frozen soil anyway. And maybe, just maybe, that stubborn little act is what carries the world forward. So tonight, sleep in peace. The worst is over. The sun has come back. And so have you.